The quality of my life is not the quality of the contents of my life, the people and things in my life. It's the quality of my consciousness. So when I'm in a grateful consciousness, a warm-hearted consciousness, I'm in a connected space, anything and everything becomes beautiful. Karma yoga is action without a doer. How can there be action without a doer? It's only when you become the action. It's interesting that in the mythology, Shiva is not an artist. Shiva is not a painter. Shiva is not even a sculptor. Shiva is the dancer. Why is Shiva a dancer, not a sculptor? He could have been anything, right? But he's a dancer. There's a reason for it. Because the painter can be separated from the painting. The sculptor can be separated from the sculpture. But the dancer cannot be separated from the dance. So you see, for Shiva to dance, in that moment, you cannot say, okay, this is the dancer, this is the dance. No, the dance is the dancer is the dance. There is this oneness, which is why Shiva is a dancer. You see, in every situation, there is E plus R is equal to O. Event plus response is equal to outcome. Event is only part of the story. How do you respond to it? I play this game. It's called Oh No, How Wonderful. Maybe we can actually play it together. So Oh No is, I'll give some Oh No situation, and you have to come up with a how wonderful for that, right? So for example, oh no, the kids' room is in a mess. How wonderful. They're having fun. Yeah. Or how wonderful. They have many things to play with. In fact, in one session, I said, wonderful. They have a room. Not everybody got a home big enough for a room for their kids. And how wonderful, because today you're crying about your messy room of your kids. Tomorrow you're going to cry when they go to college. Have you heard of empty nest syndrome? When the birds fly out of the nest, empty nest syndrome. So tomorrow you will cry, the room is too clean. For the last 2 months, it's been clean. No one came. No one is there. Different kind of crying. So, oh no, how wonderful. So let me play this game with you. I'm going to give you a few oh no's. Just open your chat. Let's get you to interact a little bit with me. And I want you to give me some how wonderfuls for this, okay? Address it to everybody. So, oh no, I'm stuck in a traffic jam. So what's how wonderful about that?
So there are more how wonderful to just be in your vehicle.
Yeah, that's true. You see, compared to a person on a two-wheeler, when they see you in a car, they say, how wonderful. I'm here in this traffic jam, breathing all this polluted air. This person's got their AC on. One day, that will be, that. Look at that's wonderful. Right? Then the guy on a cycle looks at the guy in the two-wheeler and says, wow, this person on two-wheeler is so good. One day I'll also have a two-wheeler. Right? Then the person who's walking says, wow, this guy's got a cycle. I have to walk everywhere. Then the person on the side of the road with no legs, who's begging, says, wow, this guy's got legs. You see, for everybody, no matter what you're going through, I never complain about my life because someone somewhere dreams of a life like mine, prays for a life like mine. So this is the powerful attitude, the attitude of how wonderful, no matter what happens, how wonderful. So for example, oh no, the electricity bill is very high this month.
Means I bought a new AC.
In the new AC, yeah. Right.
And there are more answers. Somebody says practice the rag. In fact, there are many.
Divine opportunity for candlelight dinner. I was in the Northeast and I said, what is the electricity bill? Is very, very, very high. So they were very happy. I said, why are you so happy? Sir, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा light नहीं आती है. There's a lot of electricity cuts over here. So if there's a big electricity bill, even this month we got more electricity than usual. You see, in every situation, there is E plus R is equal to O. Event plus response is equal to outcome. Event is only part of the story. How do you respond to it? There was a man who had two twins. He had twins. Yeah? He had two children, same age. But he noticed they have very different personalities. One of them in everything finds something wrong, and one in everything finds something good. So he decided to do a test. He said, no, this is a bit, how can it be like this? So he decided on their birthday, which of course is the same day, the one who's always complaining, he will fill up his room with presents and gifts. And the one who is always finding things good, he will put shit in the room. A piece of shit in the, literally actual shit. I'm going to put a little shit in the room. Let's see what happens. Now, let's see. This is a challenge. So the first kid enters his room and he's full of gifts. He says, oh no. He said, what, oh no? What happened? He said, so many gifts. My friends will be jealous of me. The second one enters his room and says, oh wow. So what happened? Why are you so happy? There is shit. There must be a puppy somewhere. You see the way of thinking? It's a totally different way of thinking. The king, who also had twins, and he couldn't figure out, because they're twins, so who should be the next king? So it's a bit of a challenge now. So he comes up with a little test. So he gives them a very small amount of money. So like maybe in today's world, maybe let's say 5 rupees, right? Whatever back then was 5 rupees. A very small amount of money. He says, okay, you have only 5 rupees. And by tomorrow morning, using only these 5 rupees, you have to fill up your entire palace. And depending on which of you does a better job of that, I will make you the next king. 5 rupees? What can, in 5 rupees, how do you fill up a whole palace? So the first one goes out, he's scratching your head. Nothing is available for 5 rupees. But then he sees a bullock cart taking the city's dump. He says, oh, city's dump. This is all free. No one wants it. So he tells the guy who takes the city dump, take 5 rupees. And today, instead of taking the garbage, all the garbage into the city dump, you put it in my palace. What are you saying, Your Highness? He said, no, put it in the palace. Okay, fine. I don't mind. 5 rupees, he puts it in his pocket. And the whole day, he fills the entire palace with all the city's garbage. The second prince also thinks of something. So now the next day, the king goes to examine what's going on. So from a distance, he's getting some kind of a strange smell. So he says, son, what is the smell? Oh, come, father, you'll be very impressed with me. What? So as he comes closer, the smell increases. And finally, he opens the front door and all the garbage comes and falls on the king. The king says, what is this? He says, look, aren't you proud of me? I filled the entire palace with garbage. Just 5 rupees, I filled the entire. I'm sure my brother couldn't do what I did. And his father said, oh my goodness, what a foolish son. In 5 rupees, he's destroyed a priceless palace. What a foolish son I have. Anyway, he goes to the second one. And from a distance, slightly nice smell is coming. What is this? So as he comes closer, the son opens the front door. And he realizes his son, for 5 rupees, bought a packet of agarbatti, incense sticks, and lit up one agarbatti in every corner. The whole palace is fragrant with the agarbatti smell, with the incense smell. Wow. He filled it up with something so subtle. So we might be finding the first one very foolish and the second one very smart. But we have to realize we are the prince. And the palace is our mind. Now, are you going to treat your mind like a garbage truck, garbage cart, every day picking up all the garbage? A good source of garbage is your daily newspaper. No matter how good a time we have here today, but if I say something very bad about the Prime Minister or about some lower caste, if I say something horrible, right, that the Buddha was better than all this stupid, and I take some name of some other god or whatever, tomorrow it will come in the paper. You watch. It will come in the paper. For sure it will come in the paper. So that is garbage only, right? What of all the things I said, it picked up the one part of my talk that was the most, and it's not even their fault actually. Washington Post, on the same day, did an experiment. On the same day, this never happened, but they decided to do it. On the same day, they came up with 2 editions of a newspaper. One edition had a headline saying, World Peace Conference happening in Washington, D.C. World leaders are gathering to discuss peace. And the other edition, same day, says, ghastly murder in the suburbs. Now you tell me which one sold more, which edition sold more. You know which edition sold more. So of course they're going to talk about that. What do you expect? Because they're going to appeal to your basest instincts, right? My mother used to collect a magazine called National Geographic. You might have seen National Geographic TV channel, but it's also a magazine. Originally, it was a magazine. It had a yellow border. I've noticed in my family as well as other places, other people I know, anyone who collects National Geographic, they never throw it away. It's treated like a book. I mean, you'll throw away the other India Today. I'm sorry if any people in India Today. You'll throw away all the other magazines. You'll throw away all the other magazines. You'll never throw a National Geographic away. It is better than a book. The quality of paper is so high. The quality of the article is so high. The photography is so amazing. Right? And I remember as a kid pulling out these magazines from years back, and I was moved. I remember one I was so moved by. There was a piece on Walt Whitman, wonderful American poet. I was so moved. And Walt Whitman said, don't read my poetry indoors. Get out into the park and read it aloud. I said, all right. So I took this National Geographic and I went to I was living in Sector 17, Gurgaon then, and I found the closest park. And in the middle of the park, I'm reading Walt Whitman. People are like, what is this young man gone mad? But I felt him. I felt the spirit of Walt Whitman. I felt it. I would not have felt it sitting in my study, reading it and forgetting about it. You see, that's how that magazine touched me. My dog's poop would be cleaned with the newspaper from yesterday. That is the value of that newspaper. Why would I fill my mind with stuff that one day old can be used to clean poop? Why would I not fill my mind with the National Geographic? In fact, there was an article in Central Park. I don't know which year it was. Central Park is this beautiful park in New York City. And I was so moved by the Central Park and the things that happen there and the experiences people have. You know, there are parts of Central Park, and I've actually been to Central Park, so I know this. You will not feel that you're in New York City. How is that possible? New York City got such high skyscrapers. But it's designed in such a way, there are parts where no matter how you look, you cannot see a single building. How cleverly they've designed it. Right in the middle of New York City, you'll feel you're not in New York City. That is the magic of that park. So I read that and I was so moved. So a single thought can change your life. But be careful, too many thoughts can chain your life. Most of us have become quite conscious of the food we eat, right? Oh, I have to be gluten-free. Oh, this is too oily. Acha, kaun sa oil istemol kiya hai? Haan, right? And we'll ask a lot of questions, right? When it comes to food we eat, many of us, not all of us, but many of us are quite conscious. Even the clothes we wear, like if today you put on, you notice, oh, the button is broken, oh, it's torn. Sorry, you can't wear the button is broken, torn. Oh, there's a stain on it. Or the istri wala hasn't done a good job. You'll not wear it, right? We're very conscientious about food and clothing. But you know what? You can be happy with food that's not completely clean. You can be happy with a button that's broken. But with a thought that is filled with hatred and resistance and anger and fear, you cannot be happy for a moment. So much more dangerous is the kind of thoughts you're allowing inside. So that is actually a bigger deal. So to be conscious of what we are allowing, this is also called Indriya Samvara. Conscious. What am I allowing into my eyes, ears, smell, taste, touch, and thought? This is actually a much bigger deal. So how about we become more conscious about these things, you know? And like whatever happens, oh no, how wonderful. Oh no, how wonderful. Rule number 6, don't take life so seriously. I learned from my teachers. In fact, one of our teachers would make us laugh so much. And literally our stomach would hurt. And we said, why do you make us laugh so much? He said, because when you're laughing, your mouth is open. We said, yes. So when your mouth is open, I pop the wisdom pill. It goes right inside. In fact, there was a teacher who was nominated for the Best Teacher Award. And people were surprised because he came from a small district, a small town, a small school. People said, why this man has been nominated for National Award for Teacher, Best Teacher? What is so special about him? So they went to study, what is he doing so special? Turns out in his class, he has a very special way of teaching. He will get the kids to play games, do something fun, something playful, some activity. Then he'll clap his hands and they'll all come and sit down, totally straight. And he'll teach for 5 or 10 minutes. Then again, he'll clap his hands and again, we're playing a game. And again, he clap his hand, they come and sit down. So it's become he's made the whole teaching process a game. Look back in your own schooling, college days and check. Did you not learn the most from the teachers who were most passionate about their subjects? From the teachers who most loved their subject and who made it fun and playful and engaging and made it relevant to your life? In fact, I met a lady in Germany and I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm doing a PhD in history. I said, PhD in history? It's very rare to meet people doing those kind of PhDs. Why history? She said, actually, I used to hate history. Until in school, we had a change of teachers. A new teacher came in. And he said, take your textbook off the table, put it back in your bag. Really? But it's history class. No, take it off, put it back. And he began telling us stories. And then after a few days of storytelling, he said, do you want to go to this place? We said, of course, we'd like to go to this place. And he arranged a school trip to go and see the place where that battle happened, that fort, that whatever. He took us to museums. And then we couldn't get back. We couldn't wait to go home and open that chapter in our history book and read more. We couldn't wait to do it. He ignited our imagination. That's the time I fell in love with history. You see? So it's never really about the content. if you're really loving what you're doing, you will convey. In fact, one of my friends actually, he called me and said, Nitya, what do you do? He said, I know you know what I do. I teach, I do these programs. I said, no, but what do you do? What are you asking? I teach things that inspire people. But what do you really do? So he kept asking. And I thought he's getting to something. I kept going along with him. And eventually I realized, wow, I just show up. It's not that I do this or I do that. I just show up. He said, exactly. We don't teach by what we say. We teach by who we are. Right? We teach by resonance. So transformation happens by resonance. You show up. Sri Aurobindo was in prison for the revolutionary methods he used for independence. And in prison, he had a vision. He had a few visions, actually. He had a vision of Swami Vivekananda, and he had a vision of Sri Krishna. And he says, my pillow became Sri Krishna, my mattress became Sri Krishna, my prison bars became Sri Krishna, the one tree I could see outside my prison bars became Sri Krishna, my warden became Sri Krishna. I was in Sri Krishna was in me. What was supposed to be a sentence, a punishment, became a sadhana for him. And at one point, I forget exactly if he was out on bail or whatever, Sri Krishna told him, go to Pondicherry. Go to Pondicherry. Go to Pondicherry. Pondicherry was a French, colony. So the British had no control over Pondicherry. They'd given the little parts to Portuguese and the French and all that. So he went to Pondicherry and he stayed there the whole time. So during the entire freedom struggle, Sri Aurobindo lived in one room that's not too big. He lived in that room. If you go to Pondicherry, you can still see that room. He stayed there. And he would hardly ever leave that room. He would communicate with his disciples through letters. So in fact, Sri Aurobindo's writings are enormous because he's communicated by letters. And at one point, Gandhiji sent his son saying, what are you doing in Pondicherry? Come out, we need you here. There's such a lot to be done. And Sri Aurobindo just said, you work at your level, I'm working at my level. Sri Aurobindo was working at the level of consciousness. Sri Aurobindo had said years earlier, India shall gain independence on my birthday. If you read the history books, India was supposed to gain independence on 14th of August, not 15th. But then due to certain last minute quirks, it shifted to 15th. 15th August is Sri Aurobindo's birthday. He had made a sankalpa, the power of a yogic sankalpa. He made a sankalpa, India shall gain independence on my birthday. And then a few days later, he came on All India Radio. That recording might be found somewhere. He gave a talk to independent India on All India Radio. So he called this subtle activism. Most of you might be familiar with the activism of, get out there, talk to the government, talk to people, challenge them, stand up for the right. Yeah, fine, that's fine. But it is like, what can I say? There's atomic power and then there is kinetic power, but there are all kinds of energies, right? So like, for example, I pick up a piece of wood. That wood, it's got a certain weight. So it's got potential energy. So maybe if I tie it to a pulley, it'll pull something else up by its sheer weight. That's one level. But then also within it is chemical energy. So if I was to burn the wood, you burn one piece of wood, it can burn down a whole building. That's the power latent in that wood. But then deeper down, at an atomic level, it can power an entire city. And you go even deeper to pure potentiality. That's where universes are born from. Within that wood is all of creation. It takes the whole universe to produce one grain of rice. So everything is within everything. So what level are you operating from? So Sri Aurobindo told Mahatma Gandhi's son, you work at your level, let me work at my level. Apparently, if you read the stories, the decisive factor which changed the fate of World War II, the decisive factor was Hitler's decision to invade Russia first. That was decisive. And if he had gone the other way, if he had decided to go towards Great Britain first, there was no chance. Great Britain had no hope against Hitler's army. So the story goes that Hitler was guided by a dark force and he would see guidance from it. And Sri Aurobindo disguised himself as that dark force and said, attack Russia first. Who knows if it's all true, but it's a fun story anyway, right? And so the thing with Russia was definitely weaker than Germany, but what Russia did have was land. So retreating slowly, losing millions of soldiers, but retreating until the deadly Russian winter set in. And now it's so cold. Everyone is entrenched. Hitler lost such a lot of resources, such a lot of people, that by the time he could gather himself and attack the other direction, America had woken up and the entire fate of the world war was changed. So who knows if it's true or not, but I just find this fascinating. Subtle activism. I did a small experiment, not at Sri Aurobindo scale, but on my own scale. A few years back, I don't know if you remember the news, there was a lot of attacks happening against Indians in Australia. It happened some years back. There was a lot of racism happening. Indians were getting beaten up. So my friend in Australia contacted me and said, Nitya, what can we do about this? I said, let's create a guided meditation, just a short 10-minute guided meditation, where we will imagine getting peaceful. We will get peaceful, and we will imagine peace in our city. And we will see everyone getting along very peacefully. Now, there was the research done by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's Institute, and they came up with a very interesting formula: the square root of 1%. So, according to their research, when the square root of 1% of a population rises in consciousness, the entire population gets affected. So they had done many experiments. The biggest experiment that they did was in Washington, D.C., where they said over a period of 1 month, from 500 growing to 5,000 people will start meditating. The population of Washington, D.C., 1%, and the square root of 1% is about that much, right? So we will increase the size of our meditation, and our hypothesis is violent crime will go down by 25%. So when they told the police chief, this is what we're planning, he began laughing and said, yeah, it'll happen. If there are 2 feet of snow this summer, violent crime will definitely go down by 25%. He mocked them. Yeah, what nonsense. But people from around the world who practice TM landed up in Washington, D.C. And little by little, over a month, and you could see them on the streets, you could see them in the gardens, you could see them everywhere. They're sitting in small groups and they're meditating. And they were tracking crime. Violent crime did go down by about 26% that month. And the police chief had no explanation for it. So what an interesting formula to remember. So like, if you want to change your family, if you want to change your organization, if you want to change your country, figure out the population, figure out the square root of 1% of that population, get together some friends, and play the oh no, how wonderful game. Or basically you get into a heightened level of consciousness and you are impacting the collective. When there's a bed sheet over here, I have to just pinch any one part of it and start lifting. What happens? The entire bed sheet comes with it. I don't pick up the whole bed sheet. I don't have to have like an octopus's hands to pick up the entire bed sheet at once. Not required. Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. There was a school in which kids were asked, what's the biggest thing in the world? Someone said elephant. Someone said, no, blue whale. Someone said, no, the planet is bigger than that. Someone said, no, the sun is bigger. Someone said, the universe is bigger. They kept going. And one girl said, no, my eye is bigger. Your eye is bigger? Yeah, the elephant fits in my eye. The planet fits in my eye. The sun fits in my eye. The universe also can fit in my eye. My eye is bigger than all of that. Wow, what a wise child. This is wisdom, right? So it's the one place we never looked. My teacher used to say, if you want world peace, learn to make the heart still. When the heart is still, the world is already at peace. What evidence do you have the world is not at peace? So we are approaching it playfully by questioning our stories, questioning the stories that we tell about the way things are. When I yatha drishti tatha shrishti, when I change my way of looking at things, the things I look at change. I'm not experiencing the world the way it is. So going back to that experiment in Australia, this meditation was circulated. Every day, increasing number of people forwarded this message to each other. They began meditating. And in less than a month, and of course, all these things that you can just go to the police and ask for the reports. Violent crime reduced dramatically, more than 25% it reduced. So this was my little experiment at subtle activism. Right. So you apply subtle activism, you apply this playfulness, you apply this ability to, instead of trying to change other than change the world, you change your way of looking at things. When I put a blue glass in front of my eye, the world becomes blue. Red glass, the world becomes red. How am I seeing it? We talked about National Geographic earlier. The mission statement of National Geographic magazine is celebrating what's right with the world. Mary Oliver, one of my favorite poets, says, wouldn't God be disappointed if you're not dazzled at least 10 times a day? Wouldn't God be dazzled? Wouldn't God be disappointed if you're not dazzled at least 10 times a day? One of my teachers, a wonderful Buddhist monk in Thailand, got quite sick. He was in hospital. While he was in hospital, one of his lady disciples comes and she starts complaining. While you're gone, the standards have gone down. In the monastery, the monks are not, the cat is away, the mice are going to play. And for 1 hour, 2 hours, she went on. This is not happening. That is not happening. The standards have gone down. You're not there. And when she finished, she just asked her a simple question. Do you know what diamonds are? She said, yeah, sure. Do you know what gravel is? She said, yeah, sure. Why have you only bought me gravel? So as we go through life, are we going like that second prince, the first prince who was only gathering all the garbage, the garbage truck? Or are we going like the first prince? The agarbatti represents things like gratitude. Things like seeing the best in others. How do you know you have a healthy personality? The more you can see the good in any person or situation, the healthier the personality. The more quickly you can let go of the unwanted, the healthier the personality. And the more you can get along with different kinds of people, with very different ways of looking than you do, seeing the world than you do, you have a healthy personality. So let's see. So first one is my ability to get along, my ability to see what's right in any person or situation. My father was learning something called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And he was telling us at the dinner table that I've learned something in NLP, that there are two kinds of people. When they enter the room, some people will notice what's there and some will notice what's missing. So my dad said, wow, I realized today I always notice what's missing. When I enter a room, I don't see what's there, I see what's missing first. It's like a mind training, right? So some people, when they meet you, they'll immediately find what's wrong with you. And some will see what's good in you. It's just to notice how interesting. This is called metacognition, to become aware of your own cognitive process. This itself is transformative. So he had a big insight that day, right? So the propensity to see what's right and what can be right, what's possible and what can be possible. This is a healthy personality. To see what's wrong and what can go wrong, this is unhealthy personality. Second one, how quickly can I let go? The ability to let go when unwanted things happen. So when someone says, like, I call you an idiot once in the day, and then you repeat that statement 200 times, Nitya called me idiot. Nitya, I think he's only idiot. How can you call me idiot? You see, now what? I called you idiot once, you replayed that tape 200 times in the day and 5,000 times that year. Now who is the idiot? Come on, right? So how quickly can you let it go? Like if I call you, all of you right now, you all look like caterpillars to me. You really look like caterpillars. You'll find that so funny. What caterpillar? What nonsense? Because it didn't stick, right? But when I say all of you look like, very bad citizens to me, or you look very selfish to me, then maybe that will stick. Something, how dare you call me that? I think you're not patriotic. So those things really hurt because somewhere they resonate inside of us. It only hurts when someone says something that we secretly believe about ourselves. If I call you a caterpillar, it doesn't hurt. In fact, you find me funny. The whole session, I can call you caterpillar to make no difference. In fact, you'll say, yeah, I'll become butterfly one day. So you actually find something good in that, right? But if I was to say something else to you, if I say you're a very, you're bigoted, you're this and that, then again, how dare you say that? How can you say that? You're ignorant. So how quickly can I let go when an unwanted thing happens? There's a lovely Tibetan word called Shenpa. Nice word to learn. Shenpa. Shenpa means stickiness. And the opposite of Shenpa is Rigpa. Rigpa means openness, open intelligence. A good example of this is the sky is like Rigpa. If I throw dirt on the sky, nothing sticks. It all falls back on me. If I throw daggers on the sky, nothing sticks. All falls back on me. If I throw flowers in the sky, nothing sticks. All falls back on me. So the wisdom traditions say your true nature is like Rigpa. In fact, it is Rigpa. Your true nature is sky-like. But your temporary nature, your superficial nature is Shenpa, sticky. So also always getting stuck. I like, I don't like, I want, I don't want. Notice when someone eats, someone got a cake, they take one bite. Oh, so good. But before they can even consume it and swallow it, what's the recipe? What's the recipe? Why do they ask for the recipe? What's the recipe got to do with it? Why? Because they want to control it. I like it so much. I want to have it every day of my life. You see, this grabbing. So when a pleasant happens, you want to grab. When an unpleasant happens, you want to push. When a neutral happens, you get bored and pick up your phone. And that's it. These three things. This is all our whole life is like we're oscillating between these three things. Pleasant, grab. Unpleasant, push. And neutral, get bored, get restless, get anxious, get disturbed, get confused. And that's basically, that's the play of our life. So once I went to my teacher and I said, I'm very doubtful. I have a lot of doubts coming up. Doubt in myself, doubt in the teachings. And if I'm honest, even doubt in you. He said, yes, the solution for doubt is just to know this is doubt. I love that. He didn't try to convince me. He said, no, just know this is doubt. Doubt is a aspect of the mind which will arise for everybody sooner or later. And just know this is doubt. That's all it is. Metacognition, the ability to be aware of what's happening now. So to know doubt as doubt, confusion precedes clarity. You cannot have clarity unless you've had confusion. To whatever extent you're finding me clear today, to that extent I have been doubtful and unclear in my life. It is not possible for me to be clear without having doubted. The Zen tradition says, great faith, great doubt, great awakening. Great faith is you believe what your parents say, you believe what your teacher says, you believe what society says, you believe, you're playing the good boy, good girl, and then something happened and you say, what the F? I mean, everything. I don't know. And you start doubting every single thing that everybody said, and you're just like, I don't know if I can believe anything. And look, I've been living in a matrix. What's going on over here? But you see, that is also necessary. It's called the dark night of the soul. So great faith and great doubt, great awakening. It has to happen. Everything that you believe in, you will have to doubt. In fact, the Buddha once, in a large assembly, he was giving a talk, and suddenly, without explanation, turned to Sariputra and said, Sariputra, do you believe what I just said? Sariputra was his right-hand disciple. And Sariputra shocks the assembly by saying, I do not believe what you just said. What? Sariputra doesn't believe what the Buddha said? And the Buddha smiles and says, explain yourself. And Sariputra says, why would I believe it? I know it. You don't have to believe something that you know. You only have to believe something that you're not sure of. You see? You believe something for which you constantly need proof and validation. Satyameva Jayati says in our country says Satyameva. Truth always wins. In truth, there is victory. What I realized about truth is truth does not have to be defended. Truth does not have to be propagated. Truth just has to be lived. Truth is asking you to be it and live it, not propagate. Truth can take care of itself. Thank you. I mean, the entire universe is based on truth. There's a lovely book, Course in Miracles, which says that what is unreal does not exist. What is real cannot be threatened. What is unreal does not exist. What is real cannot be threatened. Therein lies the peace of God. Wow. What is unreal does not exist. What is real cannot be threatened. Therein lies the peace of God. In Kashmiri Shaivism, they believe Shiva has expanded. Out of his own will, he has expanded. He's expanded so much that he's taken on strange contours. He's become a mountain. He's become a river. He's become you. He's become a puppy dog. He's become a lotus flower. Shiva has expanded so much into immense diversity. But with expansion comes contraction. So in that maximum expansion, he has maximally contracted. He has forgotten that he is Shiva. So right now, this person thinks he's Nityashanti. He's forgotten that he's Shiva. In the maximum expansion of Shiva, Shiva contracts and forgets who he really is. But that's the game that Shiva wants to play. Right. The Sufi prays to God and says, God, I don't know what to give you. If I give you a flower, it's foolish because you only made the flower. If I sculpt something out of a rock and give you, well, you only made the rock. You only made my hands. I don't know what to give you. It's very confusing. So God actually talks to him, son, you're right. There's nothing you can give me. It's quite foolish you're trying to give me something because I only made all these. Like you're giving me back what I've given you. But let me tell you something I don't have. Really? Something you don't have? What is it you don't have? God says, where I am, there's no confusion. Where I am, there's no doubt. Where I am, there's no envy. Where I am, there's no animosity. Where I am, there's no disturbance. Can you give me that? The Sufi says, wow, I've got lots of that. So the next day, whenever he feels disturbed, anxious, sad, confused, oh, God wants a break from being all-knowing. God wants a break from having all the answers. God wants a break from being peaceful all the time. You see, like all of us like to go and have street food once in a while. No matter how healthy you are, once in a while you want to have that pani puri. You want to have that puchka. You want to have that whatever it is that you like to have, pizza, right? You want to have that because you're tired of having being so healthy all the time. So maybe God wants a break. And this is the break he's chosen. This lifetime is a break he's chosen. Let's take a little break. You know, when you win the Olympic gold medal and you go to the after party, you don't say, "Hey, you also got gold medal." No, we're all Olympic champions. We don't have to compare ourselves. I'm a gold medalist in my field. You're a gold medalist in your field. I can appreciate you. I don't have to compare myself to you. So 3 characteristics of a healthy personality. First one, the ability to see what's good. Not only good, to see what's God. If the person who can see God in you is considered worthy of being called guru. Guru, from darkness to light. The more superficially they see you, the more you should be wary of them. Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. But of course, you don't have to be wary of them. You can see them also as God. Secret agent of God, right? If it resonates, if I'm calling you caterpillar, 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 and it's resonating, this is for you to inquire. This is not about me calling you caterpillar. This is about you. How come you're resonating with caterpillar? And I keep saying you're not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Why are you resonating with it? Something in you to look at. So I've also come as a secret agent from God. This is God playing games with God. For me, life is God playing hide and seek with herself, himself, itself. Shiva is playing with himself. In Kashmiri Shaivism, there are only 3 things. There's Shiva, there's Shakti, and there's Nara. Shiva is consciousness. Shakti is the play, the reflection of consciousness. And Nara is the self-contained little bubble within all of this that says, oh, this is me. And all are equally valid. Right. So the propensity to see in everyone and everything, Shiva, Shakti, Nara, Shiva, Shakti, Nara. This is just a play. This is healthy consciousness. The ability to quickly let go when unwanted things happen. In Hindi movies, they say, 7 janmon tak nahi bholunga. Achha, ek cheez ho gayi, aap 7 like ultimate unhealthy personality. Someone says something once, 7 janmon tak. Now, this is foolishness of the highest order. Someone came and spat on the Buddha, saying you teach nonsense and you're converting or you're taking away our young people, making them monks. He was an old man. He spat on the Buddha, went away. At night time, this man couldn't sleep. He said, nowhere in the Shastras does it say to spit on someone you disagree with. I went too far. He was a wise man, actually. So next day he goes and he says, I still don't agree with you, but I apologize. What happened? He says, I spat on you. I went a bit too far. That's not done. So will you forgive me? Buddha says, nothing to forgive. So what do you mean? So the man who was there yesterday is not here today. The words that were there yesterday are not here today. The spit that was there yesterday is not here today. You see, in that moment, it was done. So when unwanted things happen, you can say, 7 janmo tak nahi bhulunga bhulungi, which is like carving it in stone. Or you can draw a line on sand. So carving it on stone will stay your whole life. Draw a line on sand will stay a few days. Draw a line on water will stay a few seconds. And draw a line in air, in space. There's no line. In the Buddha's case, Buddha is living in a way, he draws the line in space. Whatever happens is like in space. Jiddu Krishnamurti called it the path of an eagle. What is the path of an eagle? There is no path of an eagle. Eagle is just eagle. There is no path there. So the ability to quickly let go. When unwanted things happen, unwanted things are medicine. If you're on the right path means what? If you're all on the right path. But at least if you're on this inward path, if you're on the path of untangling yourself. See, some of us are here to accumulate. Fine, good for you. Enjoy the journey. But some of us are here to empty ourselves. I'll come to you, Devan, just in a second. I can see your hand raised. So some of us are here to empty ourselves, right? So like if you have a kitten playing with a ball of wool. So kitten chasing the ball of wool, chasing. And at one point, the kitten gets shocked. Why does she get shocked? The ball disappeared. Because you chase a ball of wool, there will come a point when the ball disappears. The kitten got shocked. What just happened? You know what? There was never a ball. There was only wool. So some of us are like that kitten and we are chasing, what is this I? What is this sense of self that has got all these opinions and that is so sure about them? And chasing that ball, unraveling, untangling. Poof, where did it go? There is no me having a life. There is only life. So forgiveness is realizing what you thought happened didn't. What you thought happened didn't. In Rwanda, there was the genocide in Rwanda, and so many people were killed and massacred, and the prisons got filled up with murderers. And a few years later, the president said, as a poor country, we cannot afford to have millions of people in prison. I know what happened is very unfair, but we have to reconcile. We cannot have so many people in prison. So he began a national effort of reconciliation. He began training people. If you want to leave, you have to go and apologize to the people whose family you massacred. And the people outside also getting trained. Would you be okay with this person leaving? And thousands upon thousands were released. They come to the home of the person whose family they've massacred and they seek forgiveness. There was a series of photographs taken, I think, I'm forgetting, with New York Times or The Guardian, and portraits in forgiveness. Women standing next to the man who's massacred their husband and their kids. In some cases, sitting next to them. In some cases, even holding hands. These are ordinary people who have reached that level of forgiveness. Not just one or two of them, thousands of them in an entire country. One lady said, "What's the point you're asking forgiveness? I've got no place to live." The man comes back a few days later with his friends, helps build her a house. Another lady said, "When I have trouble in this village, I go to him. He takes care of me." If they can forgive those kinds of things, can we not forgive our neighbor who takes our parking spot, or the one who plays loud music, or the one who's got a little different belief system than ours? Come on, guys, right? So this is just showing us the capacity we have. There was the Tibetan nun who, I don't know if I'm forgetting if she escaped or she was released. She was in prison for 30 years in Chinese occupied Tibet. And she comes to Dalai Lama in Dharamshala. Dalai Lama meets her. And her story is heart-wrenching. As a young nun, she's taken from a monastery and she's put into prison. For 30 plus years, she's kept in prison. The whole time Dalai Lama has been out, she's been in prison. And he asks her, at one point in the conversation, he asks her, what was the most difficult part of that? Did you face any danger? She said, yes, there were a few times it was very dangerous. And her answer was, I almost lost compassion for my captors. This is her danger. Her danger is not all the beating and the torture and whatever else happened to her. There were a few times it was dangerous. I almost lost compassion for my captors. Wow. That is danger. So this is a whole different way of approaching life. Right? So the ability to let go when unwanted things happen. The shamans call this good medicine. That's my phrase for it. When I miss a flight, this is good medicine. When someone criticizes me, this is good medicine. When I mess up, this is good medicine. What is good medicine? It's not medicine for my ego. It's medicine for my soul. What the ego considers good news, the soul considers bad news. What the ego considers bad news, the soul considers good news. Carl Jung, when someone would come and say, I got promoted, would say, if we stick together, we can get through this. And when someone came and said, I lost my job, he'd say, let's open a bottle of wine. Something good's going to come out of this. He said, when you approach your true self, it feels like you just lost your wallet, your purse. Why? Why would it feel like that? Because your wallet has two things. It has money and it has credit card. It has money and it has ID cards. Money represents control. ID cards represent your identity. So when you approach your true self, it feels like you lost your wallet. Because both these things start disappearing. The sense of control starts disappearing and the sense of identity starts disappearing. You become more transparent. So now the last part of a healthy personality is the ability to get along with a wide variety of different kinds of people. Not just those who dress like you, behave like you, believe like you. If you only get along with those, you have a very narrow personality. I'm sorry. And get along doesn't mean I have to become like them, but I can get along with them. It's the opposite of what happens on our TV shows nowadays. Everyone's shouting their lungs out. Can't even listen. I really respect these. Yeah, in the West, even though, of course, they all have their own viewpoint, but I like the fact that people with totally opposite viewpoints will at least listen to each other, not interrupt each other while shouting. Right? Basic level of dignity, right? I may not agree with you, but I can listen to you. In fact, some of the beautiful, I used to remember watching presidential debates from maybe 20, 30 years back, US presidential debates. They are such fun to watch. Such beautiful, it's like amazing debates. Such mastery over the way of delivering their speech. So clever, so smart, and so dignified. Beautiful. And they'll even poke at each other, but through wit and through beautiful facts. It's amazing. Loved it. So coming back to this, can I get along with a wide variety of people, even people very different from me, different viewpoints, different dress sense, different dietary choices, different worldviews? The more I can get along with a wide variety of different kinds of people, the healthier my personality. If I only get along with those like me. Max Mueller used to say, to know one is to know none. You don't know what it's like to be Indian unless you leave India. When I went to Thailand, my teacher kept saying, why do you keep saying no all the time? I said, I'm not saying no. He said, no, your head is going like this. That is, we don't even know as Indians. We shake our head. We say, this is up for us, yes. It's like, what? You don't even know you do that until you get out of India, right? There are so many things we do. We don't even know that that's an Indian thing to do until you leave, right? So you don't know what it is to be Indian until you leave India for a while. So you don't know these things. It's too close. It's caught up, right? So the juxtaposition of different points of view. We only know ourselves through the eyes of others. In Africa, there's a saying, I see you. And the other person says, I'm here. I see you, I'm here. In other words, I'm only here when you see me. But what are you seeing in me? Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. What I see in you, I evoke in you. One of my friends had a habit of, when he takes a rickshaw, whatever the rickshaw guy asks for, my friend gives him double of that. So one time he did this, and the rickshaw guy said, Sir, aap zyada paise de rahe hain. It's 200 rupees, aap 400 rupees de rahe hain. He said, No, I'm giving you on purpose. Why? आज किसी को आप free ride दे दो. Aj, give someone a free ride today. Give someone who's old or sick or weak or whatever, or just for it, just give them a free ride. आपको कैसे मालूम मैं दूंगा free ride? How do you know? How can you trust me? How do you know I'll do it? It doesn't matter. If you don't want to give, don't give. I trust you. And my friend smiles and walks away. And this rickshaw guy is stunned. My friend comes back half an hour later. The rickshaw guy is still waiting there. आइए सर घर लेके चलते हैं. अरे मैंने अपने लिए नहीं बोला था. I didn't say for myself. He says, come, I'll take you home. He says, but I didn't say for myself. He said, no, come with me. So when they're going in the rickshaw, the guy says, sir, आपने तो दिल छू दिया आज. You touched my heart. हर दिन लोग इतना लड़ाई करते हैं 5 रुपए 10 रुपए के, गाली देते हैं, पुलिस को बुलाते हैं 5-10 रुपए के लिए, इतना गाली देते हैं. आपने तो मुझे डबल दे दिया और कह दिया किसी को take someone for a free ride. And I was embarrassed today of all the times I have fought with people for money. Of course, I have to make money. I'm a rickshaw man. But I forgot the reason I ride my rickshaw is also to help people, take them. If there's an old person, a sick person, what is my problem in giving them a lift? What stops me from doing it? In fact, there's a rickshaw guy in Ahmedabad. At the end of the ride, there's nothing to pay. There is no bill. You can pay whatever you like. You're paying it forward. He said, your trip was paid for by the previous customer. And his rickshaw is still running after years. He runs on a gift economy model. So anyway, my friend said that this rickshaw guy was so moved. He said, Aapne to bhaiya dil chhu diya aaj hamara. And all those people over the years, shouting, screaming, trying to convert him, threatening him, no change happened. Connection before correction. If you want to change someone, connect with the heart first. See the beauty in them first. Best of luck changing them from a mental point of view. Nothing's going to happen. They're going to get more entrenched. I was asked as a kid, who is more powerful, the sun or the wind? In fact, there was a competition. Sun and the wind were deciding who's more powerful. So they said, okay, there's a guy walking with a coat. Let's get him to take his coat off. So wind says, I'll blow so hard. Poor guy's coat is going to get off. So wind blows harder and harder. I mean, so hard, literally trees could get uprooted. But this guy just holds his jacket tighter. Jacket doesn't come off. The sun just gets warmer and warmer and warmer. And the guy automatically takes the jacket off. How beautiful is that? So you see, in an indirect way, like Sri Aurobindo did, in an indirect way, the transformation happens. All these three things I said, if you want to have a healthy personality, and yes, a playful personality, a joyful personality, yes, effortless personality as well, then apply these three things first to yourself. Our biggest enemy is usually ourselves. The reason we don't get along with others is we don't like ourselves. If you really got along with yourself and you found all parts of yourself acceptable, adorable, even cute, you would have no problem with this world, I tell you. We have problems with this world because we are projecting stuff onto people and governments and individuals, what we have not embraced within ourselves. Some years back, there was this politician who got in trouble. He'd gone to the men's room, and he was, even in India, you have these dividers, but they don't go all the way to the floor, so you can see the other person's feet. So he was using his feet to touch somebody other guy's foot. This is like a gay thing to do. You touch your feet to the other person's feet. So he was caught for this. This is illegal in the US. Turns out he's a politician. His whole life, his career is being built on ending homosexuality. This is called the shadow. What you're most against, that is there in you. This is not only for him, this is for all of us. Whatever we mostly khatam karo, wo hamare jeevan mein chal raha hai. Like one person said, how can that be true? My wife is late. It's been 30 years. Every day she's late. I tell her, get ready on time. She's late. I'm not late. I'm always on time. It's not true. That's my shadow. I say, you're so late. 30 years, you've not understood your wife. You're so late at understanding her. Oh my goodness. You know the movie is at 8 o'clock. If you tell her it's at 8 o'clock, she'll only be ready by 8:30. What stops you from telling her the movie at 7 o'clock? Then she'll be ready by 7:30. Then you can enjoy the movie. But you are so late in understanding your wife. You see, it's always like that. What I'm projecting onto others, somewhere inside me, I've not accepted it. So step one is when you look in the mirror, the highest in me, this is Namaste, the highest in me bows to the highest in me. In other words, the divine in me, the Shiva in me, the Shakti in me recognizes the divine, the Shiva, the Shakti, and the Nara, and the confused, broken person in me, all of it, all three. A lovely thing I learned recently is I look at myself in the mirror and I say, Nitya, no matter what you've done, just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with you? So I give myself open license, just for today. I know you're messed up in many ways, but just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with you? What a powerful thing what a gift to give myself. Just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with you? So to see what is good, to let go of what is not good. Eleanor Roosevelt would say beautifully, she said, she defined her life wisdom in 3 sentences. Empty what's full. Fill what's empty. Scratch where it itches. I love it. Empty what's full. Fill what's empty. Scratch where it itches. What does it mean? Gandhiji said the biggest danger after independence is heartless intellectuals. Biggest danger. So empty this intellect. In Tibetan Buddhism, we say when two yogis meet and they disagree, one of them is not a yogi. When 2 scholars meet and they agree, one of them is not a scholar. Because intellectuals will always disagree. That's what intellects do. Intellects disagree. Intellects will do vigatan vibhajan, analysis paralysis. Right? They keep separating. That's why the brain has got this left and right brain hemisphere. Right? So intellectuals disagree. Scholars will disagree. If scholars agree, one of them is not a scholar. If yogis disagree, one of them is not a yogi. So the ability to quickly let go when unwanted things happen. So how quickly can I forgive myself? Throughout the day, yes, I'll say stupid things. Maybe I've gone above my time now. Maybe Aparna wants me to stop and take questions. Fine. But this is the way it is right now. This is the flow that's coming right now, and let it just complete itself, right? And so I forgive myself. Forgiving. This is what's happening right now. And finally, to get along, I'm not one person. You may call me Nitya Shanti, spiritual teacher, whatnot. No. I'm also a friend. I'm also someone who likes board games. I'm also someone who can maybe get irritated with my mom sometimes. I'm also someone who is very bad at filing my taxes. I wait till the last minute and then it gets stressful. I'm all of those things. I'm a village. I'm not one person. And if you're honest, you're also a village. So to get along with my sub-personalities, this is a community here. If you want peace in our country, let's start with peace over here. You want peace in your country, but you don't have peace over here. What is that peace? It means nothing, right? To the extent I'm peaceful, my family is peaceful, my community is peaceful, my world is peaceful. That's how real peace happens. That's what Sri Aurobindo was talking about, subtle activism. fill what's empty, empty what's full. Scratch where it itches. Scratch where it itches, yeah. So be real, right? Be authentic. Talk about what's really going on. In my session, I said, let's be real. Let's not pretend to be spiritual over here. Let's be real. You put on your spiritual mask, now suddenly a lot of things are off the table. Get real. And when it's real, everybody can get real. And that's when real transformation can happen.
So my first question is, I always observed like I have controlled my mind, and not control was not to think anything.
Yeah.
But I am not every time possible. Not anytime I am possible, because anything I have in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it possible practically to not think, or?
So all of us can try this right now. I want you to notice very, very carefully. I want you to notice the different sounds you're hearing wherever you are right now. So for the next few seconds, notice that. All right. I could notice some children playing and the hum of my laptop and a very faint hum of the fan. And I noticed, I don't know about you, but in order to notice that, I had to mute my thinking. If I was thinking of what I'm going to say to you next, I could not have noticed those things, at least momentarily. May not be perfect, but momentarily. So Devansh, check. Is it true that for the time you were listening, you muted your thinking?
Yes.
Isn't that true? Right?
Yes.
If you could do it for 1 or 2 seconds, you can definitely train yourself to. Because the thing is, right now you can hear my voice. You know why you can hear my voice? Because there's not a rock band playing behind me. If I was a news reporter in a rock band, you'd be, kya keh rahe ho? Bas lips hil rahi hain. I'm only hearing the music in the background. You can hear me right now because there's a background of silence. Isn't it? So there is always a background of silence. When you hear a rock band, there's a background of silence. When you hear an aeroplane, a fighter jet, there's a background of silence. No matter what's going on in your mind, there is always a background of silence. So silence is not something you achieve. Silence is what you are. Right? But we get hypnotized by the content of our experience. We get hypnotized by the things, right? So I am awareness, and all this arises within my awareness. So I am the sky, all of this is weather. So not only is it possible, it is the fundamental truth of life, that you will not have a thought without a background of silence on which this thought is appearing. Only thing is, we become used to identifying shenpa, stickiness. We get stuck with the content of our experience instead of being with the background of our experience. The whole point of spiritual practice is to become familiar with that and to rest as that.
So my second question is, always try to think positive. But other real life problems, when it comes, we go completely negative. ये क्या चल रहा है, ये हमेशा हमारे साथ यही होता है, ये तो इसका क्या solution? What's solution for it?
Yeah, good, very good. There are 4 levels of consciousness. So there is tamasic, rajasic, sattvic, and nirgun. 4 levels of consciousness. So in English, you would say, very simply translated, would be like a victim consciousness. Don't want, don't like, not like. So what you call negative thinking would be, if you're constantly not good enough, I'm not good enough, you're not good enough, the world is not good enough. This would be what you call so-called negative thinking, victim-mindedness. If you focus on always what you don't want, don't like, pushing, or feeling disappointed, I didn't get what I want, that is called tamasic. It's the lowest level of consciousness. Second one is called rajasic. When I focus on what I want, I want that job. I want to marry that person. I want to have that kind of life experience. I want to go to that country. I want to make this contribution. So-called positive thinking, or I prefer to call it possibility thinking. So it's a much better place than the first one. However, this also has a problem. It is putting it in the future. So when this talk goes well, and all of you tell me what a great talk it was, then I'll be happy, right? When I become a world famous person, then I'll be happy. When something happens, then I'll be happy. When I touch 1 million lives, then I'll be happy. So when this is, again, I'm doing it for something. So, and then if I ask, and then what will happen? So then a lot of people like Nitya Shanti, a lot of people like your talk, then what will happen? Oh, then they'll be at peace. And then what will happen? Oh, then I'll feel so fulfilled. And then what will happen? So basically, I'm trying to feel a certain way. I'm trying to feel fulfilled, contented, happy, peaceful. I'm actually doing all of this for myself. Let me be very honest about it. Let me not try to pretend to be a big social worker or something. Super, super selfish. But I'm doing it in a way that is very unpredictable. I don't know how my talk will land on you. Some of you will like it. Some of you have already left. Who knows, right? That's not in my hands. All I can do is show up. So that's out of my hands. So how about sattvic is, I forget about the results. I come from this consciousness. I'm not doing things for happiness, doing things from happiness. Not doing things for peace, doing things from peace. Not doing things for joy, doing things from joy. So if my intention for this talk is that if you guys get a different perspective, you guys become more relaxed and playful with your life, then I need to be more relaxed and playful in this moment. To the extent I'm relaxed and playful and chill, chances are you will be. And even if you're not, it's okay, right? So that is the third level of consciousness. So whatever you're trying to be positive about, whether it's a job or whether it's something to happen in your life, you ask yourself at the end of it, how will I feel? Can I feel that now? Can I feel that now even for 1 second? I bet you can. And then you practice that. My teacher said, never prepare your content, prepare your intent. How beautiful is that? Don't focus on the priority is not where you're going. The priority is where you're coming from. How powerful is that? Not coming from in terms of history, coming from in terms of consciousness. Where am I coming from? And even beyond Satvik is Nirgun. Like right now, I invite all of you, just be present with me. Eyes can be open, just be present. What you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're feeling. Amazing. So in the last few seconds, did you think of your name? Did you think of your bank balance? How much money is there? Did you think of your age, your gender, how many people in the family? Did you think of your six-pack abs or lack of? Like I like to say I've got one-pack ab. Did you think of any of these things? Chances are you didn't think of any of those things. But were you okay? Chances are you were just fine. In fact, you're probably better than fine. Now, in a different way, I'm going to say, I took away your name, I took away your gender, I took away your nationality, I took away your religion, I took away your family, I took away your money, I took away all of these things that you believe are core to your identity or to your beingness. And yet you are not only okay, you are more than okay. So this is called Nirgun. Some of you are logging in from your phones. Some of you are logging in from a Windows computer. Some from a MacBook. Some from something else. But you're all logging into the same meeting, right? Someone using one network provider, another network provider, but you're all here, right? Someone came from a physical meeting. They came in a car. Some came in an Uber. Some came by bus. Some came by train. Some came by plane. Some came in chappal. Some came in high heels. But when they entered, they all entered bare feet, right? That temple, they all entered bare feet, right? So at the end of it, you have to get nanga. You have to get naked. Anything less than that, you cannot enter. Like you knock on heaven, the door of heaven, and the voice says, "Who's there?" You say, "It's me. It's Nitishanti." Sorry, there's only place for one here. You have when you knock and you realize, and the voice says, "Who is there?" and there's no answer. Literally, there's nobody there. That's the only time the door opens. You have to become nothing to access everything. And nothing is not some exalted spiritual state. Right now, if you're honest, you're completely naked. What do you own? What do you have? Nothing. What do you really have? It can be taken away from you in a snatch, in a second. Alexander the Great was asked by a naked fakir, "Who do you think of yourself?" He said, "I'm the emperor. What do you mean, who do I think of myself?" So the fakir said, "But what if you're thirsty? What if you're in a desert and you're thirsty? And I have a bottle of water. What will you give me?" "I'll give you a few gold coins. I don't care for your gold coins. I'll give you lots of wives. I don't care for your wives." He kept increasing. "I'll give you half my kingdom." And the fakir began laughing. "Oh, half your kingdom, half your kingdom. If I wait a little longer, you'll give me your whole kingdom." And Alexander the Great had to admit it's true. If he's that thirsty, he might be willing to give up his entire kingdom for that bottle of water, that glass of water. So what do we really own? It's a joke, right? So just relax. Kashmiri Shaivism, I mentioned it a few times. I just love this tradition. I was asking one of the teachers, so then what if everything is Shiva, if everything is already that? Because you see, the way it's different from normal Indian spirituality is, normal Indian spirituality says there is Maya. This is all illusion. It's all the great illusion. And we are lost in this Maya. We have to wake up from the Maya into Brahman, into the true nature. And Kashmiri Shaivism says there is no Maya. Everything is Shiva. So right now, whether you agree with me or not, like this or not, this is all Shiva playing with Shiva right now. So then I asked this teacher, then if that is the teaching, if it's all Shiva, if it's all God, if it's all absolute, if it's all true, then what is left to be done? So he said, relax and be spontaneous. Relax and be spontaneous. Enjoy, in other words, enjoy. And enjoy also the disagreements and enjoy also the inner conflict. Enjoy it all. This is Shiva playing. Okay, Shiva, you want this? Like that Sufi says, oh, you want to be disappointed today? Enjoy the disappointment. Enjoy the heartbreak. Enjoy it. Metacognition. You've shifted to a higher gear. It doesn't affect you anymore. So the deeper answer to your question is you are stuck on level 2. The positive thinking is only level 2. There are two more gears beyond this, at least 2 more gears, maybe more than that. So you can get into Sattvic gear, you can get into Nirgun gear. Yeah, it's all right. Where you are is just fine.
I could not get the difference between spiritual and real.
I mean, for me, spirituality is there a difference? I don't even think of it as a difference. I mean, spirituality is curiosity about our true nature. That's the way I see it. For me, religion minus fear is spirituality. Spirituality plus fear is religion. Religion is some very tight boxes of what you should and shouldn't do. The inner essence of all religion is spirituality. So it is the direct, for me, spirituality is the direct encounter with reality, not through concepts. That could be a subtle distinction, perhaps.
Yeah, Namaste, Nityaji. My apologies in advance because mine is not really a question. Maybe you can get the question out of the jumbled thought that I have.
Share your observation or whatever you want to share. No worries.
Right. You talked about missing flight, and I can, relate with it so much. I'm someone who has missed starting from flight, train, buses, rickshaw if possible. I haven't because, that you can probably call and get it. So I'll just narrate one incident. I was, this is what I think my 3rd or 4th trip abroad, and I missed my flight from Paris to Venice and had to take a 17 hours bus journey. So every time I talk to someone, and I narrate this incident and I say the beautiful journey that I had, the places I got to stop by and see, the people I met, and at the end of the incident, I would see people pitying the incident, saying that, oh my God, you missed the flight, how difficult it was, and just bypass the whole incident, the whole, the story, the reason why I narrated the story. And somewhere they get the headache and they look at me in a weird way thinking, why weren't you stressed? And even today I have this logic where I say that, okay, if I miss my flight, that's all right. It's not the end of the world. I'll, probably get something or I'll not travel at all. So when you talked about, that, okay, let go of things, how to make sure that the others don't take your stress for the things for which you're not worried. So as I said, it's a thought, maybe you could just, say something about it.
You're halfway there. Now also let go of wanting them to be different. I mean, let them. Why do you assume that they should not be stressed? I mean, your true nature is seeing the beauty in that, seeing the opportunity in that, seeing the that there could be something good in this, or maybe this is just what has to happen. And their true nature is worrying right now. It may not be forever, but right now it's worrying. And let them worry. And in a way, it's like I always say, I was talking about taxes the other day, right, a little while back. I tell my mom, thank you, mom, for worrying about taxes. I don't worry about it. My mom says, oh, you haven't paid this tax. This has to be done. Ore. I say, mom, thanks. Thanks for your worrying. I can be chill. So thanks to people in your life who are worrying, you can be more chill. Because they worry, you haven't done again. Come on, look at this. This has to be done. Yeah, I'll do it. So it's okay. We all the states there are 22,000 words for traits in the English language. Traits are things like rude and arrogant and loving and generous. 22,000 words like this. If you understood the word I just said, you are that. You are all traits, but what you focus on expands. The person who habitually worries about your flight, in a moment of real crisis, you might be shocked to find that they're actually not worrying. They're actually very calm. Unexpected things can happen like that. It's not always true that the worrier will always worry. In certain situations, like have you noticed sometimes someone you didn't even consider to be a close friend, but when a big challenging event happens, they show up. When everybody else doesn't show up, like, oh, you showed up. I didn't expect you to show up. So it's unexpected. It is strange how this works. A fantastic book is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist who was put into the concentration camps. He talked about how young, fit people would die out of disappointment and heartbreak, and old, sick people would survive. Shouldn't be happening. It's the opposite of what you expect. So I would say just be in a state of curiosity and wonder, and I would say I don't think it's required to change them. And in It's actually, you see, you thought it's about them changing. It's actually about you going deeper into your value is letting go, right? Not theirs. Now you go deeper into your value. My prescriptions for others were always meant for myself. It's a quote by one of my teachers. My prescriptions for others were always meant for myself. If I'm telling them don't worry, then I shouldn't worry about their worry. And that's me going deeper into my own. When I practice my values fully, this universe is at complete peace. This universe is actually heaven. But when I impose my values on others, I project my values, you should. In that moment, this universe comes into disarray.
How to overcome fear of failure in our life?
I don't believe in overcoming things. I believe in getting interested in them. Like I don't teach fearlessness. I teach curiosity. So yeah. So what will happen? If you like? I'll give you my own example. When I began teaching, I noticed an ambition arise in me. I want to be a very good teacher. I want to be a very inspiring teacher. I want to help a lot of people. I want to support them in having a better life. And so a kind of ambition arose in me. Even if you call it a spiritual ambition, it was definitely an ambition. And also because I've been in the spiritual circuit for long enough to know that lots of shady things happen. Lots of people will be nice and charismatic and take your money away, and nice and charismatic and take other things away from you, at least your innocence away. And I said, no, I don't want to be like that. I want to be a good teacher. I want to be a true teacher. So right away, the moment that came up, I noticed a contraction came up. But now the fear comes up. Oh, what if I don't? What if I also become proud? What if I also take advantage? What if I also become money-minded? Well, then what? And this kind of began growing systematically. And I said, oh, this is something not right. So I said, all right, so how bad can it get? So there's a teaching in the Greek tradition which says, run towards your fears. I said, let me run towards my fears. What's the worst thing that can happen? So I closed my eyes and I visualized myself as the most degenerate, most horrible spiritual teacher in the world. So I am taking advantage of my female disciples. I'm taking all their money away. Totally every single word that comes out of my mouth creates more confusion and more prejudice into people's minds. And as I did that, instead of feeling bad about it, I was shocked to find compassion arose in my heart. I said, oh my goodness, it takes 1 million such teachers for there to be a Buddha. The word Buddha has no meaning unless there are 1 million such teachers. Why do I always have to be the Buddha? Why can't I be the Buddha? What is this attraction to always being the Buddha? Buddha has no meaning without a Buddha, right? Ordinary people want to be famous. Famous people want to be legends. You see, having one viral video is not good enough. You have to have many, many viral videos. One hit film is not good enough. You have to have many, many hit films. So famous want to be legendary. Legends want to be wise. And the wise are content to be ordinary. And that's why they're wise. See, it's full circle. So what are we so afraid of? This so-called failure? Read books of the most successful people you know. They have embraced failure. They have not overcome failure. They have welcomed failure. Bring it on. I met, Yatra.com. I was doing a session for them. And the founder tells us how he, getting out of college, had a business idea. He got his friends and his father to invest his life savings in it. It failed. Father said, son, try again. Second business failed. Third business became Yatra.com, multi-million-dollar business. But what a father who, being a normal government employee, having saved diligently, carefully over years, tells his son, try again. This is amazing, right? So those are the kinds of people that we look up to. Those who say, go ahead and fail, son. Go ahead and fail, daughter. It's okay. I love you anyway. Try this. That's a different level of trust in people. Prakash Tandon, who used to be heading Hindustan Lever, was a family friend of ours. He told us about once, in fact, his book said it. He'd gone to a plant, one of the Hindustan Lever plants, and while he was in the plant manager's office, a call came that some event had happened on the factory floor, production had shut down. He said, Mr. Tandon, please wait, I'll just go and fix it. He said, no, stay here. No, the production is shut down. I need to go and see. He said, I want you to stay here. He forced him to stay there. You know what he was teaching him? You're running every time when something breaks down. When will you empower other people to be leaders? I want you to stay. Let them figure it out. Yeah, they may get it wrong. It's no problem. This is how your job is to create leaders, not to expect them to look up to you all the time. So in other words, Prakash Tandon was saying, let them fail. Let them fail forward. They will fail and they will learn, and they will fail and they will learn. In our willingness to allow ourselves and others to fail, we show true love. We show true belief. Right? So it's okay to fail. Please go ahead. In fact, fail more.
I really enjoyed the talk. And, one point that you touched upon was the individual and collective consciousness. So my question was about the individual being and the collective consciousness, because given all the conflict we're seeing around us, especially in India, globally as well, how do we impact the events collectively? If one wants to meditate or get together or try to elevate one's vibrational energy, because most of us are too busy trying to sort ourselves out internally. Some of us, we're pursuing the idea, and I think you touched upon it, maybe not very specifically, but about, Aham Brahmasmi or Aham Brahman. But, given all that we're going through, how do we impact the collective consciousness? I would just be very interested to hear your thoughts on it.
Thank you, Mohit. It's interesting, when I was thinking of today's talk, and sometimes I get a kind of an intuition of what I have to speak about. And somehow the only thing that came to me is the word ancestors. Ancestors. It's like, Nitya, bring up the ancestors. I haven't brought them up until this point. I've got to bring them up now. So behind me are my mother and father. Behind them are their mother and father. Behind them goes on and goes back to I don't even know how long. Right. So I'm not just one person. I am the wave, the visible wave on an ocean of consciousness. So of course we say, yeah, my skin color is because of both my parents, my eye color, my hair color, my nose, shape of my nose. But not just your physical characteristics, your inner terrain as well. Have you noticed certain communities are very good at business? Certain communities are very creative. Have you noticed this? Certain, like I say, diamond business. Two people do diamond business: Jews and Gujus. Diamond business, that's basically diamond empire in Surat and the rest of the world, right? So it's actually very interesting. Certain kinds of communities will become specialized at certain things. Like, I can't take full credit for if I'm speaking reasonably well. My father used to be a trainer and teacher, right? So somewhere it's come. Who knows? This may be a genetic thing. Who knows where it's coming from, right? So we are the leading edge of this incredible. So in other words, my body is as old as the universe. My body is all my ancestors here, all their life experiences here. My consciousness is as old as the universe. So right now, already I am collective consciousness. Do not think of yourself as individuated consciousness. It doesn't take, just go into your dreams, right away you touch collective consciousness. Just go into your mind wandering, right away you go into collective consciousness. You're constantly in collective consciousness. And the ripples I create as I meditate, it's not like, oh, it's me meditating, now what do I do next? Like we talked about the square root of 1%. When I meditate, like I noticed this. When I was first teaching, I was teaching a bunch of children. I was teaching them Anapanasati, breath meditation. I made a children's course teacher when I was 18 years old, teaching meditation to them. So there was another teacher observing me, and he said to me, back then my name was Harsh. He said, Harsh, I noticed you're talking to them about peace. But as they're getting distracted and as they're talking to each other and as they're not listening to you, you are the opposite of peace. You're getting agitated. You're talking about peace. You're talking about let's be calm, let's be peaceful. But your voice is not showing peace. And I thought, wow, that's true. Good observation. I was getting tense in teaching them peace because I felt they were not listening to me. They were getting up. They were opening their eyes. He says, you just be peace. You forget about them. You just be peace. And then those who have to be peace will be peace, and those who are not, just let it. So powerful. One of the best things I've ever heard. So since then, I'm not that concerned about collective consciousness. I'm just fixing, what evidence do we have that this consciousness is not collective consciousness? Right now, I'm imagining I'm talking to all of you. So somebody's standing there. I'm like a crazy guy sitting on a couch and just talking into air for like an hour plus. I'm a crazy dude. It's an imagination that all of you are there. I don't even know where you are. I have never experienced the external world. I've only experienced my ideas about it. Right. So your duty is in your local, you are the god of your local universe. You are different from every other creature in your local universe. There was a man who prayed to Lord Shiva for many, many decades. Please appear, please appear, please appear. He did not appear. Then he came in the dream and said, tomorrow I'm pleased with you. Tomorrow I will appear to you. Really? How will I recognize you? I will be the headless one. I will be the headless one. So the whole day he's waiting. Who's the headless one? Is it a dog that's headless? Is it a man that's headless? A woman that's headless? Who's the headless one? He's very confused. There's no headless one. Until he looks at both his hands and he traces them back to find, oh my goodness. Shivoham, Shivoham. I am the headless one. Chidananda Rupam, Shivoham, Shivoham. What he was looking for outside, this was Shiva playing hide and seek all along. You are the only creature in the known universe without a head. You can imagine your head, you can project your head, but you don't have a head. You don't have a head. It's true. You can't see your own face right now. At a distance, what appears like a face, if I take that further away, it becomes a body. Take that further away, it becomes a building. It becomes a city. It becomes a galaxy. If I look at a galaxy, that galaxy sees me as a galaxy. If I see you as a human, you see me as a human. If I zoom in and I see your cells, now cells are communicating with each other. If I see myself as subatomic particles, then we are subatomic particles communicating with each other. So my perception of you is nothing but me. I'm only projecting on you what I believe about myself. I have never experienced you. So there's no such thing as individuated consciousness and collective consciousness. There only is this one. And any ripple in the one ripples out non-locally to all existence. So no, this Course in Miracles says, no upset is too small. And no gratitude is too small, right? The smallest gratitude ripples across. The smallest sense of surrender and openness, your whole universe became surrendered and open. And you became upset and angry, the whole universe became angry. Because you are that. You are the universe experiencing itself. You're not living a life, you are life. This fundamental collapse will happen as you go along. Right now, it may seem like concepts. It's going to become true for you. It's going to become true. Why? Because it is true. It is only a slight hallucination that keeps us away from that. Right? So I would just say, Mohit, that whatever you know, whatever your prescriptions are for the collective consciousness, you just apply them. You just live them. You just be them. And the collective consciousness is non-locally and timelessly benefiting from that. You are creating grooves on the infinite collective being.
So when you're talking of collective consciousness, can your inner peace also impact the others, especially the ones who are close to you, family and friends?
Well,
and
if you're
especially if they are aggressive people.
Yeah, if your non-peace can affect them, your peace can also affect them. My friend Raman Khosla was a gold medalist from NIMHANS, psychiatrist. And he told his parents, I want to become a meditation teacher. They said, what? Meditation teacher? You're a psychiatrist. Why do you want to become? You've trained psychiatrist. You can meditate on the side if you want, but don't become a meditation teacher. So there was a conflict in the house. Raman said he never tried to convince his parents. He would just sit in his room, meditate, and at the end of his meditation, whatever little peace he had, he would spread that peace throughout the home and saturate his parents with peace. His father then passed away recently. His father was an industrialist. So father comes home one day and said, I'm very amazed that someone like you can get so caught up in this meditation business. I want to go and experience this meditation. What is it? So he goes, this particular style of meditation is called Vipassana. So he goes for a 10-day Vipassana course. And at the end, he realizes there's something here. I understand what my son is liking here. So he blesses his son. And then Raman went on to become a meditation teacher who I met when I was a teenager. And he gave me a lot of guidance and clarity. And that enabled me to do what I do today, right? So in other words, it is him not fighting with his parents. It is him. He wanted to teach peace. He became peace. Of course, it's going to affect your family. There's no question about it. I don't even understand the question here. Your life experience tells you every single moment.
Mine is again related. Fear. They tell me that you should save for the old age. You should save for the retirement. And if I choose not to fear, will my life experience, it's my life experience that will tell me actually. And if it is not good, I'll be dead already, so it's okay.
You can save, like what happened with a few years ago, there was that crash in the economy. People in Denmark, I think Iceland, Denmark, I forget which country, they've been saving their national bank went kaput. People have been diligently saving their whole lives. The national bank went kaput, then it's gone. One of my aunts would attend every wedding, every family function. She was always there. She was like the face of the family. During COVID, she passed away. Nobody could meet her. So she set up all the conditions for people to be there for her in her time, but nobody could be there for her. So we're not saying don't do it, but it's uncertain. You see, we don't know what's going to happen. Mahatma Gandhi was asked, "Will you buy life insurance?" He said, "I'll think about it." So he comes back a few days later. He said, "I'm not going to buy." He says, "Why?" So your life is always in danger. They can assassinate you at any time. He says, "No, I'm not going to buy because I believe that God decided when I would be born, and God will decide when I die. And if when I die, my family comes into hardship, that is what they need for their enlightenment. And if when I die, my family comes into prosperity, that is what they need for their enlightenment. So I'm not going to buy life insurance. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that that's a very radical point of view, that he has surrendered to that extent and he trusts, right? And of course, there's a paradox there as well. He was the father of the nation, but his own kids didn't consider him a good father. So it's always, this life is full of these paradoxes. Great father, whole country respects him, he's on every single banknote, but his own kids didn't think he was such a great father after all. So you see, you cannot please everybody in this world. Let's just get that out of the way. No matter how I give this talk, I can't please all of you. So let me just please myself. Khud khushi.
Nitya, how old are you?
I don't talk about my age. Because there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. Why talk about the age? Because every age has got an assumption built in. If I say I'm 20 years, you'll have an assumption. 30 years, you'll have an assumption. I read a book called Healthy at 100. And these people in these certain places called blue zones in the world. In blue zones, people tend to live over 100, more than the rest of the population, right? Most of the rest of the world. And one of their secrets is they don't talk about birthdays. They don't talk about their age. So it's always kind of hard. Are you 90 or are you 100? Are you 110 or are you 120? It's kind of hard because they don't worry about it. And the person who is writing the book is an ultra marathonist. He's himself super fit. He could not keep up with these centenarians. When they take their sheep out herding, they go out for days. He could not keep up with them. He's an ultra marathonist. He couldn't keep up with them. And they have a very different belief system. In that society, those societies, they'll wink at you and say, life begins at 90. Huh? Life begins at 90? So yeah, by 90, you made all your mistakes. You've had all your affairs. You've done all the foolish stuff that you had to do. And now you can really begin to enjoy. But for many of us, already at 30, we're crying, 40, we're crying. So I do not believe in this birthday business. Yeah, if the government forces me for Aadhaar card purposes, I'll say something. But I'm not really interested in these age things. So you can decide what my age is. And because I think one of the reasons, because I don't talk about my age, that's why it's a little hard to guess my age, which is why I think you should also not talk about your age. You can still celebrate, like tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow's my birthday actually. So tomorrow, friends are taking me out. So great, we'll celebrate. But it's not about the age. It's just about a gathering, having fun.
My question was, I used to watch a Project Nightfall. Okay, in Facebook, he always says you are. He was very bad conditions before he started making the videos. So he always says that you don't live with the people who praise you, okay, or who are like with you. Means if I can't speak very good, my people will tease me. Okay, that you can't speak good. Okay, but there is certain community in the world which speaks very bad. Means these pronunciations are not clear, so they will like you. Okay, because they have matched with you. So what do you think? He was right or he was wrong? And secondly, my last question was, I used to watch a Tenari Rama show. Okay, so it shows me very much that you can live with humor, you can live with practical solutions, you can live with many ways. So what do you think about that? This is
all right. So first of all, I don't believe in right and wrong. You know what? For me, friendship is where the version of me that comes out, I like that version of me. So if you're with people who also are kind of sloppy with their language, but you love fooling around with them and making fun of the language and maybe coming up with your own language, excellent, go for it. You know, who's to say what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong? You have to ask yourself deep down, and this is actually not a simple. It is a simple question, but it's pretty. This is a question that demands your whole attention. That what is worthy of my time and attention? What is worthy of my time, attention, and energy in this world? If you right now today had to decide what you want to dedicate the rest of your life to, what would be worthy of dedicating the rest of your life to? These are good questions to ask yourself. Now, based on that, in fact, tomorrow morning from 8 to 9 a.m., I'm talking about my vision. I think for me, a good way of using my birthday is, let me talk about how I believe I can make the rest of my life the best of my life. So I'm going to talk about my vision. You can go to my YouTube channel and watch it live, right? So then the community I attract will be based on those values, those principles, and that vision. It's not based on arbitrary things like for example, I'm sure if I hang out with very fit people, athletic people, I'm sure I'll become more fit hanging out with them. But maybe that's not my highest. Yeah, it's good to be fit, but maybe my higher value is I want to hang out with emotionally fit people. and good to be physically fit as well. But for me, that's a higher value. Or I want to hang out with people who don't take themselves so seriously, who can laugh at themselves. So ultimately, I don't think there's any right or wrong. You can hang out with any group of people. And what are the thing about Tenali Rama? I didn't fully get that.
No, my question was the show shows that very much you can live with the humor. Okay, the problems come in your life. You can solve it with very technically. You can say with humor. You can say with all things. So, what do you think about it?
Not only think, it is completely true. In fact, I do not even. Somebody asked me a very nice question the other day. Nitya, when was the last time you were upset for more than a week? I said, wow, what a question. So I had to really think hard. And I think the last time was somewhere around the age of 23. Of course, you don't know my current age, so you don't know how long it's been. But it had been a reasonably long time. I said, that's pretty cool. I've been upset, of course, one gets upset once in a while. But usually, forget about week, it usually doesn't even last days. I've never had a slump that long. And not that I haven't had challenges in my life. I mean, my parents get sick, my brothers had some challenges, things happen. I mean, I've had to force myself to think now what all has happened. I'm sure things have happened. But you see, I just see all of it as this is just life. Not that it should be any other way. Suffering is arguing with reality. I love what you said. That's actually a great way to end today's session. That let's bring on that Tenali Rama attitude. That let's see it all as playful. Let's see it all as fun. Let's see it all as humorous. Rule number 6, let's not take life so seriously. And for those of you who weren't in the beginning of the talk, you'll say, what are the other rules? So there are no other rules. Then why is it called rule number 6? Don't take life so seriously.
I actually don't have so much of like a question, but I could so much relate to everything that you just said. I actually joined in very late, around 11:30 something, but everything that you said, I didn't listen it. I actually felt it.
Thank you, Shreya. And I think the reason you felt it is I was also not planning what I'm saying. I was also just feeling it. Just felt my way through the talk.